All right, everyone. I'm here with a very special guest today. I am joined by Savannah Sharp. How are you today, Savannah?
I am very good. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. I've been following you for a while and I wanted to have you on the podcast because you're a little bit different than the rest of the people that I follow. I follow a lot of, classic just personal trainers, like bikini competitors and stuff, but I've noticed that I don't, I don't know too much about it, but you have competed in a different league than like the IFBB, and it
Yes.
looks really pretty and really sparkly. And
Yeah.
I needed to have you on so I could just ask you all the questions about it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm your girl for it. So it's a little bit different because, like you said, I'm kind of solo out here in the world of glamour and fitness. So
Yeah.
I originally started, bodybuilding and
Right.
traditional bodybuilding. Like that drew me into it. I was in the NPC for 2017 to 2023, and then I
Mhm.
switched. So 2023, I switched into the
Oh, okay.
Glamour Federation. And it's bodybuilding-esque, but it's more like fitness and pageants kind of meet together. So I don't consider it bodybuilding, even though we look similar because the tan is similar and the suits are kind of similar, but it's more of a fitness pageant, is how I describe it.
That seems pretty cool. I haven't, people have been in my ear for years, like, you should really compete. You do so well. You should go into bikini. But I get a little bit nervous just about like the strictness of the diet and your hormones and stuff. So when you're training or like prepping, I guess, for this new sort of competition, like what does it look like compared to your bikini prep?
So prep is still prep. The only
Okay.
true difference between this one is how conditioned that we get and how aggressive that cardio gets and that dieting gets.
Okay.
So there is a little more flexibility as far as like, what I'm eating. It's still prep food, it's like healthy chicken breast and rice.
Right.
But like this improvement season, there's a lot more flexibility now in my food choices. So I'm having like more, I guess, diverse food. I'm not
Yeah.
eating like such a regimented diet, like how like the men bodybuilds, like tilapia and asparagus.
Yeah.
I'm like doing more macro swaps, so I feel like I have a better understanding of nutrition. And it still was hard at the end, but like conditioning wise, for reference, like I in NPC, when I first started, I was 145-ish pounds. That was
Hmm.
like my heaviest weight. Then
Hmm.
my first show, I got on stage at 130 pounds. So I've been on stage at 130, 133, 135, and then at nationals in 2022 at my leanest and most muscular, I was 137 pounds.
Okay.
And that was for NPC. And
Hmm.
then when I turned pro, a couple months later in WBFF, I was 147 pounds. So I was 10 pounds heavier.
Okay.
And then I did a pro debut. I cut down a little bit. So I cut down 6 pounds and I was 141 pounds. So it's the same. I would say, you're still doing cardio, you're still training,
Hmm.
you're still being progressively more restrictive, and cardio increases as you're like competing, but like how lean, I felt okay. There's a certain point when you get super, super lean where you don't feel great. You feel
Yes.
like really, really bad. I
Yeah.
never got that way, and I
Okay.
still feel like I liked how I looked even when I was like leaner, just because it was a little more full and it just looked better on my physique. I
Right.
didn't have to fight so hard because it's really hard for me to get lean. That's why I originally switched, because I have what people call like thick, like literal thick skin. It's can't get like striations,
Mhm.
especially in my tie-ins. So that's huge for in like traditional bodybuilding, is like you want to get lean enough where you can see the details in your glutes and shoulders. I had built up pretty good glutes. I still needed more. I just needed more and more and more. Just I needed more muscle to push through on
Mhm.
my skin, but I was very lean, but I still wasn't lean enough in my glutes. And we just kind of were like, okay, I think it's just literally thick skin. So I could take time off, build muscle to push through the skin, and then, still get the same amount of leanness, but have more muscle. So then you can see those tie-ins.
Mhm.
or it was, take another 1 to 2 years off and mature. So then my
Mhm.
skin like thins out, plus build muscle and then try again. And I didn't want to do that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, yeah, I just want to compete. I
yeah.
don't want to take an off season. And this idea of the Glamour Federation came up. It's like, hey, I think there's something that you can do where we don't really have like you could kind of do it in an off season physique while you're still working on growing all these different things. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Let's just try it. For the first show, we didn't cut super hard, which is I was kind of like a trial. Like I didn't change my body because
Right,
I still on the fence of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I
right.
don't know what's going on. This is my first time. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna do it for
yeah.
fun. Let's see how it goes. And then I liked it. I ended up turning pro at my first show, which was a whole different
Awesome.
story. That was crazy. But then I'm like, okay, I really like this. I like how the muscle looks. The leg development's a little bit more curvy. They like the quads and the sweeps and they like full round glutes. I'm like, all right, they don't love shoulders so much. I'm like, it's basically like a bikini model, Instagram model type look. I'm like, all
Okay.
right, I like this. I love this a lot. So yeah, we stopped training upper body, started training glutes even more, legs. I started adding quads, started doing more core work just to get everything defined. And it's been a fun transition.
It looks super fun. And I was looking back at your page. I remember when you went to Vegas, I had a friend who was at the show. She actually asked me to go, but I think I was traveling or something and I couldn't go that weekend. But I was looking through that and I went back now and it looks more fun. And I don't know how to put that in like a, not that it's
Yeah.
not as hard of work, but it just, for me, like I am a girly girl through and through. I don't look like it right now with like my beanie on and everything, but I love everything that's pink and sparkly and all that. So when I saw what you were doing, I was like, this seems kind of interesting. I think I might be interested.
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna even lie, like it was the most fun I'd ever had at a show
It looks so
because
fun.
it wasn't one day. And I really love that it's an event. It's
Yeah.
like a weekend event and like
Yeah.
obviously you're shredded and you're like lean and everything, but it gives you a chance to wear fun outfits. Um,
That's the part that seemed the most fun.
yeah. Yeah. And it's like, when do you have an opportunity to not only like, be in this glamorous bikini, but then it's like on stage, I got to be in this like couture gown. And
Yeah.
then we had two different events. So the registration is a little bit more like glamorous. It's a red carpet event. So you really like more is more.
I love that.
So it goes. So like more sparkle, feathers, like you could try crazy things with fitness, fashion, like pretty much anything goes. There's not a lot of rules and restrictions for stage and then for those events. It's just show up and it's like be a celebrity for the weekend is kind of
Uh,
how like it felt to me. Because I'm like, oh, okay, you have your hair and makeup done, you're
yeah.
looking really good. You're like 2 days out from your show, you're tanned up, you're glammed out. And then, okay, so now we're in, we have your registration gala outfit. Then you have your media day that's like a themed kind of thing. So you got, getting all the content for that. And then it's the show day. You got your suit and then you have your gown. And it's just like a production. So by the end of it, I was tired. Not gonna lie, it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
When you're 2 days out, being in heels and like full glam 2 days out, it's a little hard. It's kind
Yes.
of like, but it makes it fun and you start to meet the athletes ahead of time, which is a little bit different because it's a lot smaller and a lot more niche than another like bodybuilding federation. You have a chance to actually network with people not once but 2 days. So by the time
Mm.
that you get to show day, you've seen, everyone else 2 or 3 times. You've had small conversations with
Right.
them.
Yeah.
So it's not as intimidating once you
Right.
get to show day because it's the third day of seeing the, judges, competitors, people that like, and you're just starting to make those connections. And I knew no one. I knew not a single person going into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially for my pro show, like I didn't know anyone that I was competing with, didn't have like any friends. And day two, I had girls like, hey, do you want to go to the show? Or like, let's go backstage together. And it's really fun just to be able to get a chance because I felt like before show day is so fast. it happens and it's over. And if you're not super social, like you don't really make friends unless you force
Yeah,
it. So I kind of do like that they force you to network.
yeah.
So it's nice.
I like that. It looked like, from an outsider's point of view, not knowing anything about it, seeing it on social media, it looked like the fitness competition version of the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Like that's exactly what it looked like. And I was like, I've always wanted to have my runway
Yeah.
moment at 5'2". It's not gonna
Yeah.
happen otherwise.
Yeah.
Did you have any pageant experience growing up or anything?
No, no, um, none. So I have two left feet. I
Nice.
never had
Same.
dance experience.
Yep.
I played volleyball. That was my competitive background. Um, but through, 6 years of bodybuilding posing, I worked really hard to make posing and look natural because it didn't come natural when I first started. So it was something that I like had to spend a lot of hours
Right.
putting time into drills, and like that experience translated really easily to learning how to pose, like, and modeling. So
Yep.
it's kind of live modeling is what it is, like on stage. And so that concept where it's kind of a dance routine and bodybuilding poses and like 3D modeling. So it's like you're doing like a live photo shoot that highlights your body, I guess. And it feels like a dance, I guess now. Um, it's not natural. It's not natural to like move on stage, but it's really fun. Like I grew up watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show
Yeah.
and all of those modeling things. So like I had dreams of like, oh, I wish I could be a Victoria's Secret
Everyone
angel. And
does,
so
of course.
everyone does. And so I saw this and was like, this is it. I was like, but it's not like skinny stick models. It's not like they're like skinny. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, they're a little filled out. Like we got
Yeah.
muscle here. Like, ooh, I really like how this look is. And that's exactly what it felt like on stage. It's like you are in like a glamorized crystal bikini with the shoes. And
Yeah, I love
so
that.
on stage, the posing is there's no rules and regulations except for in call-outs, they do quarter turns like wellness
Okay.
does, where you have like certain ways your body needs to face. So they'll cue you, but
Hmm.
your individual routine can be whatever.
Whatever. That's
It's
fun.
a performance. It's 10 to I'd say 10 to 30 seconds. You could probably go over and they're not going to stop you, but I'd say 10 to 30 seconds of, you do your individual, it's like a T walk where you come out and you
Right.
just do a performance of whatever like bodily poses that you like, but it's not about like holding poses, it's flowing.
Okay.
So that was different. Like
Okay.
bodybuilding poses, you have standards, you hit your
Right.
front pose, you hold it, you do your transitions, but WPFF style is more okay. So how am I going to flow through this
Right.
movement and do something? And you can like I don't have to show off my weak sides. I can just do
Show
what
off your
poses
good
I
things.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really like that because if I didn't like how my body looked in a certain way, then I could
Right.
hide it with like a hand or a twist. So it's a lot different, but it was fun because you couldn't mess up and no one would
Right.
know.
I like it too, just because I feel like the approach seems, even though it's like over the top and really sparkly and ostentatious, the whole process seems a little bit more realistic. Like just thinking back to the Victoria's Secret models, like everybody knows like what their diet and exercise regimen looked like. So to see girls in a similar atmosphere with some muscle on their legs, like, and not like, of course, you're still trying to be lean and whatnot, but it's just more of a natural, like, healthy body type. Like, we're doing resistance training, we're still fueling our bodies, we're not completely starving ourselves. And in life, I mean, what's important to me is I want to look good and feel good when I'm doing anything. And I'm not standing there with my glutes posed for the whole, like I'm moving around, and I feel like that's how I want to feel comfortable and look good.
Yeah, it is. It's fun because like you were saying, it's a little more attainable for me. And that's why that was one of the reasons why I kind of was moving into it, just balance and like what the reason why. I think that's something that you need to ask yourself. So I've had a lot of girls ask me, why did I switch?
Yeah.
Or like, what was that reason?
Mhm.
And it just was, what did I want out of life and why I really wanted a pro card. I wanted an IFBB pro card more than anything. And I didn't really like unpack why until I got off stage off nationals, where I realized like this goal I've been working for 6, 7 years, it was still another 2, 3 years away. And it just, and I'm like, is this actually something that I can do if I still want it?
Right.
And why am why am I doing 2 hours of cardio and eating 1,000 calories and just feeling miserable, missing out on social events, missing
Mhm.
out on, my prime 20s? Is this
Mhm.
worth it? Am I risking my health? And that was for me. I don't want to hate on, but like
Right.
body, I owe everything to it. I
Right.
love it. It's just for what I wanted. I wanted a platform from fitness. That was it. And when I
Yeah.
realized that's what the pro card was, I'm like, it's not about where I earn it. I was like, if I can still get a competitive drive in a different federation that works better with my natural genetics, what I like to
Mhm.
eat, train, what I
Mhm.
want my life to look like, then why it doesn't matter where. I can compete
Right.
anywhere. Just that's what I wanted. I said, I want a platform to launch a business, to inspire athletes, and I don't need to be shredded to do it. And I can do it in my own way. So that's kind of why I switched. And I like fitness and I like fashion. So
Yeah.
I liked
It's
it.
a perfect combination.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like that mentality though. Like, I feel like it's the same kind of thing of, okay, this isn't working for me at, say, like, I want to achieve a certain role at a corporate job. Okay. It's not going to happen for me here. I haven't been promoted in 5, 6 years. I'm going to switch jobs. And it's not because I'm giving up on my dream. I'm just finding a way to
Yeah.
make it feasible.
Yeah. That's exactly it. It's just, this isn't something that I'm doing. Like, it's not working. I'm
Right.
like, after nationals, like I prepped hard.
Yeah.
That at the time, that was my best.
Hmm.
Like when I got on stage for nationals, like I couldn't have given anything else. Like I pushed myself into the ground. I peaked. And that's when I looked at that and I looked at the winners. I'm like, I'm still years away.
Yeah.
And it sucks to realize like you're so close. So yeah, I could still work towards it and everything, but what is my life going to look like? You know?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I had to do some soul searching and it was hard. It was very emotional. I cried a lot about it
Yeah.
because it was like, you're grieving a part of your goals. And
Hmm.
I don't like giving up. And it kind of felt like, oh man, am I giving up? Am I going to regret this? Am I going to regret this for the rest of my life? But the thing is, like, you're never going to know. And I
Right.
really realized that well, what if you don't know if it was going to be worse or is it going to be better? Like, I don't know that. And so kind of stopped. I stopped I had to decide because I was really wishy-washy at the beginning.
Right. Hmm.
At first I didn't change my physique and it was just I'm gonna just I'm
Try
at
it.
this is a stop in the detour and I had
Hmm.
little hope of maybe I'll go back, maybe I'll get that pro card bit later and I'm just gonna do this for one in my off season and then I'll I'll figure out I do one and then maybe I'll come back and halfway through that prep I talked to one of my close friends and I was telling her like, oh, okay, so I don't know, maybe I'm gonna do this. And I was just going back and forth of should I do this? Should I do that? Should I go here and just, like basically go all in? But I was always thinking like, okay, I'm gonna have a backup plan. I'm gonna have a backup plan in case this doesn't work. I'm gonna go back.
Hmm.
And it was just like, just stop that. She's like, you got to pick. She goes,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go back, then don't do it at all.
Yeah. You got to put your heart into it,
Yeah, she's like,
really.
you can't be half in and half out.
Hmm.
So then at like halfway through that prep, it was like March. And I think I don't know, I was like 4 weeks out. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go all in. So I just mentally was like, all right, I'm gonna fully commit to this. And I started practicing posing even more, even harder. And at that point, and like it was March, I was like 4 weeks out. I officially let go of any dreams of
Yeah.
IFBB, whatever it was. I was like, that's not me anymore. I decided that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to try to get a pro card here. And I wrote in my journal every single day, I will get a pro card
Yep.
or I'll get first place and first place. And I fully believed it. And when I practiced my posing, I would like envision it and envision it. And then like it happened and it was weird. It was weird. It was weird because on stage there was another girl in I competed in fitness at the time. So the
Mhm.
fitness does the costumes. And I didn't know what was going on. So I was like,
Right.
whatever, I'm fitness bikini, who knows? So, they're announcing winners and she got second place. And so there were only two of us. And so I ended up getting first. It's like, yeah, that's amazing. I haven't won a show since 2017. This has
Right.
been a long time. And then they decide if you are ready to turn pro after you get first, because it's not a guarantee. It's only if they want to like believe that you're ready for that.
Right.
So on stage, they're like, okay, I got first, and then I'm just waiting like crickets. Like I don't know what to do. And they're saying like, congratulations, you just turned to the pro league, and my brain couldn't register it because the
Yeah,
adrenaline.
you've probably been hearing it in your own mind too, where you're like, are people
Yes,
actually saying this or am I
yes.
still in
Well,
my
because you're
journal?
like, call my name, call my number, and I'm manifesting it. And you're like, you have your number in your head and you have so many things, and you're just like, look, smile. It's like your
Yeah,
core
yeah,
in.
yeah.
You're like, okay, everything's gonna be fine. And then it like happens, and I couldn't, like, I didn't, so I had no idea that was going on. So I kind of registered it, but I didn't know if they're talking to someone else. And so I just had my little trophy and just went, like, I didn't have like a moment. I just like raised my hand and walked off stage, and I took a deep breath. And then Hannah, my friend Hannah, comes and she just comes running. It was like, oh my gosh, you did it, Mom. And I was like, I did what? She's like, you just turned pro. And I was like, I did. She's like, yeah, yeah.
Weren't you there?
Yeah. I was like, okay, great. This is so fun. And then it kind of like, it doesn't hit you until later, just because
Right.
you're like on stage, the adrenaline is really high. You
Yeah.
don't really realize it. And you're just kind of like, okay, now what? And it's the show's not over. So I still had to go on stage for bikini and change into my dress. And so it was a whole thing. It's like, oh my gosh, I just turned pro. I had my wings and bikini on. So I throw my bikinis around and I'm changing dresses and I get on my gown and I'm already like on top of I just turned pro. I'm in a gown. I'm going back on stage. We're eating cookies backstage. It's great. And the show's kind of like over. So we're eating a lot of cookies
Right,
backstage
right.
and we're going back on stage. And so I didn't even care. I was like, I don't care how I do in place in bikini. I'm done. I'm pro. Let me just go celebrate with my friends and family. But we're going on stage. And then it was my friend's time. It was Hannah. Then I was waiting for her to turn pro. So then I ended up placing in bikini. I got third and I was like, I didn't even expect that. So that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
great. And then she turned pro and it was like a whole thing. And
Oh,
it was like the best
what a
weekend.
day.
It was really fun. And the same thing like for pro debut, like it just, it was in Vegas. It
Yep.
was like, it just, everything about it has been really fun and I've enjoyed it.
It looks so fun. What are the different components of the show? Because it seems like you said it's a multi-day thing and it's structured a lot differently than like NPC. So like
Yes.
what the heck are you preparing for? What are you doing?
Okay, so it's a 3-day event. Saturday is your show day, and it depends. So they have their world is like their big pro show. It's their world championship,
Right.
and that's I think it's a 2-day event. It's a pro and it's an amateur show. So
Mhm.
that's like where you have a pre-judging in the morning, similar to normal bodybuildings, and then they have the finals, which is a pay-per-view. They do placements, so you do an individual routine where you're in a bikini and you do a T-walk and
Right.
comparisons all in the morning. And then you don't do gowns until the night. So then you come back at the night. Bikini and wellness does gowns, fitness and figure do costumes, which is a little bit different. And then they have men's federations and I think they do suits. I don't really know a lot about
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they do something. But for the women, it's either you have like all divisions have the bikini for comparisons and individuals,
Right.
and then you'll either come back and do a gown round
Um, that's
or do
fine.
costumes, and then they do fitness gets their awards in their costumes, and then bikini and wellness do awards in their gowns at the
Okay.
very night. So that's show day. And then working it way backwards, they usually do a 2 day thing. So media day is 1 day prior to the show. So that would be like a Friday and it's themed. So you'll get the theme like, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks before the
Okay.
show. And you are, it's like it depends on what the theme is. Our theme for Worlds was um black tie or pearls and diamonds or something like
Nice.
that. But it's up to you to kind of you just dress up for the theme. Really anything goes, but it's just a fun event to
Fun.
dress up for it. Sometimes it's color themes. They did like a neon for our my amateur show is neon day. So everyone was in like neon gowns,
Oh,
jumpsuits,
geez.
really whatever you want, like whatever you want, like two pieces, skirts, just something fun to
Yeah.
wear in a theme, or they've done like a white theme or a purple theme or a blue theme or whatever it is. So they
Hmm.
everyone gets a theme, so you match that theme. It's a couple hours. Media day is specifically just to mingle and take pictures. That's
Right.
what it is there for. So they have different backgrounds. Again, like it's just a chance to network with everyone and walk around in an outfit and that's what it's for. A lot of people are doing photo shoots because you have your hair and makeup done, so you can do
Right.
photo shoots if you want. But it's a couple hours where everyone just like networks, get excited for the show. They do have some media covers where they'll do like interviews with different athletes and things like that too. That's Friday. And then usually Thursday evening is registration night. So that's it's where you dress up in a gown, and this can be anything. And it's kind of like dress to impress. You want to you look your best and make a good first impression
Yeah.
because you're going to meet all the competitors. You're going to meet the judges. You'll check in for the show. So you'll have like a piece of paper, your ID that you're registered for the show.
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
give you your number. They'll just go over the weekend, what to expect, when to be, where to be, any kind of rules or times, deadlines, just a couple motivational speeches. And that happens for a couple hours Thursday night. So that's kind of like what you're preparing for. So ideally you get in shape and then you have like a suit, a gown, and you have
Right.
three different outfits. You have your registration dress, you will have a media day outfit that's to the theme. Then you have like a gown and a bikini and you just get in shape so you have all your outfits planned. And then if you do photo shoots. So basically you just get outfits ready, planned, and that's it.
Sounds
That's
fun.
really what
Sounds
it's
like a good
fun.
time to me.
Yeah.
How did you get like, because I feel like this is a little up and coming still, at least in my corner of the world. Like, I hadn't really heard of it before I started following you. How did you
Yeah.
get involved? How did you find like somebody to coach you, or did you coach yourself? Like, how did you
Yeah.
transition?
Okay, so this is odd. So
Okay.
I'm because I am a suit designer with Angel Competition Bikinis,
Right.
we were interested in these bikinis because I would see them and I was just I like obviously I love bikinis.
Right.
So I would like look at these bikinis. Why can't we do these? Why like I want to do these. Like they had these intricate beads and
Right.
feathers and fur. And I'm like, what is this for? So I started just researching bikinis. And then I
Hmm.
stumbled across this federation.
Hmm.
And um, I did not originally want to do this. This was originally for me to give to my friend Hannah
Right.
and tell her that it was like, hey, this would be great for you. Because at the time she was a retired Olympian. So she didn't want to get shredded again.
Yeah,
And
something
instead
different.
I was like, what if you did this? I was like, what if we made you a bikini for this?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, yes, let's do it. So she started her journey into this and she found a local um, posing coach. And
Hmm.
so every single week, me and her were meeting to design her suit. And as she was learning about what they were wanting from it, we would just have phone calls and she would start telling me of like, oh, this is what I learned. It's going to be so fun. It's different, all that stuff. So every time that we get on a phone call, it's like, this sounds really fun.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm very intrigued. And I was like, I don't know. Anyway, but then
Yeah.
I was like, wait, then that like came in I guess the seed was planted and I wanted to do it. So I'm like, well, what if I did it with you? And
Yeah.
I was scared. I was scared to like ask her that because it was supposed to be like her show and everything. And I'm like, but it seemed really fun. And I was like, hey, I want to ask you, and I kind of want to do this too. Would it be okay if I did it with you? And like, of course, she was like, oh my gosh, yes, that'd be so much fun. Let's do it together. We could all this stuff. And so I was like, okay, great. So then we were doing it together. We ended up working with the same posing coach. So for posing, I kind of just studied online and just
Right.
researched what I could of like, okay, who are the winners? What can I find through hashtags through the page? What, and
Right.
just started looking up what posing routines were online. I looked on YouTube, I looked everywhere that I could and just started learning myself. And then my posing coach, we worked together and I just started learning those different types of posing. And I still stayed with Team Elite. So Adam Bonia was my coach for my first two shows.
Right.
So we still were working together and it was different, but I would show him pictures. It was like, this is the bikini winners, world champions. Like, this is what they look like. It
Right.
seems like what they're wanting. Uh, I was like, what it looks like to me is a hybrid athlete of like bikini slash wellness that's maybe like 6 to 8 weeks out. It's like they're lean, but they're not overly lean.
Right.
Like you could have some body fat, but then I figured out how judging works. I'm like, okay, it doesn't really matter. Like the physique is important to be in shape, but it's specific to each girl. Like
Hmm.
it's not, you need to be a certain criteria. It's because
Hmm.
there's more of an emphasis through judging through overall posing presentation, overall like marketability, glam, like how you
Right.
actually like own your own look. It's not
Right.
about looking for the best body. It's like we're looking for like the best, presence on stage, the total
Right.
package. So that was different. But that's kind of how I got into it. So we started just taking feedback from my posing coach and just like really like doing like a normal ish prep. We kind of reduced my training from 6 days a week to 5 days a week. We added in some quads and we took out shoulders almost completely because my shoulders were very developed, so I didn't need to
Right.
grow them. So I added some more heavy compound lifts for legs, and that was a little bit of how we did it.
Awesome. I love that story. And I love that you are a bikini designer as well, just because someone's got to do it. And it seems
Yeah.
like a lot harder than it is, or no, is a lot harder than it seems. That's what I meant.
Yes.
Um, so I don't want to keep you for too much longer, but what do you think is in store for you next? Because you have this going on. You have your bikinis, like you said, going
Yeah.
on. Like you're doing a lot. What are your what's next on your journey?
It's a very good question. It's an interesting time that you're bringing this up.
Oh God.
So yeah, right now, so I'm still working for Angel Competition Bikinis and we're
Hmm.
very busy. So I help with their fashion shows. So I have a very busy schedule for this year. I'm only planning on doing one prep. So I'm gonna do Worlds again in August is the plan. And I'm obviously gonna try to win it. I'm
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to win it, but I'm realistically gonna try to place in top five and top three. So those
yeah.
are the kind of places is get in top five and then ideally get in top three and eventually try to win it. That would be like kind of the goals as far as
Right.
competing goes. And then starting to build my own personal like online coaching brand and
Nice.
help different athletes. So it's gonna be, prep athletes if they want to, lifestyle and posing. So that's what's going on in the background. And then content creation. So I have like
Hmm.
three kind of different avenues of entrepreneur is
I get
my
it.
goal long term. And then it's online coaching and being able to take lifestyle and athletes and doing posing. So I'm kind of just doing as much as I can and just kind of seeing what works and where it takes me because I like to stay busy and I love designing bikinis. So I'm doing a little bit of everything. So that's where I'm growing as a online trainer and personal coach.
I feel you. I'm in the same boat. I've been doing the online training for a while, but maybe if I decide to bite the bullet one day and compete, you'll be the first person that I call.
Yes, please call me. I'd love to
You
help
seem
you.
like you're doing well for yourself, so
Oh, yes. Thank you.
I'd trust you. Do you want to tell everybody where they can follow you on all the social medias and whatnot?
Yes. Okay. So on Instagram, it's just my name. It's Savannah Sharp with two P's. So it's SavannaSharpp. And then on TikTok, it's my name, Savannah Sharp. On YouTube, it's my name, Savannah Sharp. I do have my
Perfect.
own podcast if you would like to listen to. It's called Cupcakes and Protein Shakes, and that
Love
is
that.
for interviews with other athletes as well. If you need some inspirations, those are everywhere you can find me.
I love that. And I love that name because that's honestly what I live by.
Yep, me too.
Little cupcake, little protein shake. Got to balance each other out.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I hope that some girl is listening to this being like, wait, I think I want to do that. I like
right.
sparkly bikinis. And maybe
Yes.
you've inspired another person.
I know. Yeah, if you guys are listening to this and you love all the glam, just let me know. I'd love to help. You can always DM me if you guys have questions.
Yeah. And if you're very confused on what we've been talking about for the last 40 minutes, just look at her Instagram. You'll see it.
Yep.
You'll
It'll make
see
sense.
it and it'll click.